All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back. So we're doing the Tuesday night prelim for the Chili Bowl Nationals 1 week from tonight. This is a little bit of a preview, I guess you could say, as we look at the overall numbers. We give you the last couple of winners of the Tuesday prelim, and then I will give you my top 10 who I think will be the best drivers for the Tuesday prelim, and then you can maybe use that information for your pools. Speaking of pools, we have a quote-unquote sponsorship here for the rest of these videos. Dirt Track Pools on Twitter just released their own version of the Chili Bowl pool. You go on there. I think it's a Google form. You fill out, you pick one driver from each group for each of the prelim nights, and then you add up all the points by the end of the week, and then you will, whoever has the most points will get the win. And I'm guessing it's going to be a really, really healthy payout. Thanks to the guys at Dirt Track Pools. You can find the link in the description below for their pool. I will be talking more about the pools later on. I will do my own on this channel. I plan on doing a giveaway as well. So keep an eye on that. But thank you to Dirt Track Pools for being the first ever sponsor of the Rodman Rundown here on YouTube. So there will be 75 total entries on Tuesday night. That is third best with for all the prelim nights. So it's actually right down the middle as far as the most entries. There is one to be announced entry as compared to 3 from yesterday. There are 16 Chili Bowl rookies that will be racing on Tuesday night, which is also right down the middle for the third most out of any of the prelim nights. There are 11 former A-Main event starters on Saturday racing on Tuesday, which is tied for the worst, the least amount for one prelim night all week long. And then for the worst as well, only 16 prelim A-Main starters from last year are going to be racing on Tuesday night as well. There are 120 drivers that made a prelim feature in last year's Chili Bowl. Only 16 of them will race on Tuesday, which, as I mentioned, is 5th. That is the worst out of all 5 prelim nights. The last 5 Tuesday night winners, Buddy Kofoid and Kyle Larson, have been the dominating factors over Tuesday the last couple of years. Larson is racing on Monday this year, though, so you don't have to worry about him. Kofoid won it last year from the pole in the Keith Kunz Motorsports car. The year before that, it was an unbelievable night for Hank Davis driving Matt Seymour's number 29. He got the win from 3rd. The place about burned down. The driver out of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, able to get the win in Tulsa. It was a huge deal. 2022, Kofoid got the win as well. He started 2nd in that one, also driving for Keith Kunz. And the 2 years before that, in 21 and 20, it was Kyle Larson starting 2nd, driving his own number 01. He got the win 2 years in a row. But like I mentioned, you do not have to worry about him on Tuesday. He will be running on Monday. Now, let's get into my top 10. Let's see here. This is not in order of who I think is going to be the best down to the quote-unquote worst. In my opinion, I'm just going to put this on the board because I think that it's fun to try and put out who I think could be the best. These drivers, in my opinion, will finish in the top 10 in some particular order. Not an exact order, but I'm just going to put them on the board, and people are not going to like it because they think I'm ranking them, but it is in no particular order. So the first one I've got finishing towards the front of the field on Tuesday, it is going to be a guy that we all know and we all love or you hate, and that is Thomas Meseraull. So Thomas Meseraull, he is going to be driving the car that he's ran all season long in midgets, whether that's with USAC or with the Extreme or the POWRi series as well. You know that what you're going to get with T-Mez. The problem with him is he gets a little bit crazy sometimes with the slide or die, so you could potentially, if you pick him in the pool, I personally would not because it's just a little bit risky for him because he does like to get a little bit wild out there and could cause a crash. Or he could take out one of your other pool picks, and then you hate him for that and for taking out another guy as well. So, but Meseraull, if nothing goes wrong, I think he's going to be in the top 10 on his prelim night. Also going to be in the top 10, I feel like you have to have Hank Davis. I feel like Hank Davis is a fantastic driver. He's got a little momentum on his side, announcing just recently he's going to be a full-time 410 race car driver next year. And I think that combined with the success that he's had in the past in the building, whether that's at the shootout or obviously at the Chili Bowl Nationals himself, I think he's going to be very, very good. Should be in the top 5, I believe, on his prelim night, so long as nothing goes wrong with the car. Now, along with him, you have to have the guy that's won 2 of the last 5 years, and that is Buddy Kofoid. We saw how good he was with USAC on the West Coast for not running a midget all year long and instead running with the World of Outlaws, finishing 3rd in points over there with them. bunch of wins. He was one of the best cars in the entire country. He has got a lot of confidence right now behind him. He's in a very potent car. We know that Keith Kunz can get a car going around the Expo Center very, very well. And Kofoid, no doubt, should be on the podium, I would believe, on Tuesday night. If he's not on the podium, something catastrophic may have happened. But I tell you another guy who I think is going to be on the podium and I think could compete for the win. And that is going to be Zach Daum. Zach Daum, I am so glad to see that he is out of the Bondio cars and in a car that he has ran several times this year, the 7U, the Trifecta Motorsports cars. They have put cars in the Chili Bowl main event on Saturday before. Zach Daum has been unbelievably snake bitten over the last 10 years when it comes to this event. In my opinion, I feel like Zach Daum should have won a Chili Bowl already, but he's gotten into with lap cars, engines blowing up, all kinds of dumb stuff has happened to him. He's one of the best midget drivers in the country, underrated in my opinion, and for sure, I think he's going to be in the top 5, and I think he has a great shot to win on Tuesday night. Now let's move on to our next guy, and I just have to put him on the board because these cars drive themselves around the Expo, and it's Kevin Thomas Jr. We know that KT does not like midgets at all. He has professed that before. He doesn't like midgets, but you put him in an Alex Bowman racing car, and with how those cars have ran over the last couple of years, he ran one last year, didn't make the Saturday show, but he was close. I think that KT is going to be looking really solid. I just feel like he does tend to have some bad luck on his side. If that doesn't happen, then no doubt Kevin Thomas Jr. is going to be a guy, in my opinion, if not in the top 5, certainly in the top 10 on the Tuesday night prelim. Now, another one that I've got here on the board, and just old reliable. Whoops, I spelled his name wrong. Hopefully I can, there we go. That is supposed to say Beeson. For Jonathan Beeson, as I mentioned, old reliable. You know what you are going to get from him. If he starts in the middle of the pack or the back of the pack, you can always catch the 8J making its way forward. For a guy that does not run midgets all but maybe once or twice a year, Jonathan Beeson, with his mullet and everything, fantastic. He's obviously a local hero. People love to see him run up front at the bowl. And I always look forward to seeing what he can do. And I think that Jonathan Beeson, it's hard to not have him in the top 10 for the Tuesday night prelim. He's had some bad luck over the last couple of years, but maybe it'll turn around in 2025. Now, one that's a little bit off the board, I did see a comment about him yesterday, and it's going to be Ricky Thornton Jr. driving the Reinbold Underwood Motorsports 19. Yesterday, I had another late model driver on the board with Nick Hoffman. I think he's going to do very well. We saw Ricky Thornton Jr. do some incredible things last year at the shootout. He was very good, exceptional, actually, at the Chili Bowl in very limited midget experience. And I think he's only going to get better and better and better. Ran the shootout last week, so he's been in the building here recently. He's ran laps. Ricky Thornton Jr. could surprise a lot of people coming up here on Tuesday night for that prelim. Honestly, if he runs top 5, I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't. I think that Ricky Thornton Jr. has a great shot to make the Saturday feature this year. If he does do it, I think it's going to come out of the B main. But obviously, to get to that B main, you got to run inside that top 10 on your prelim night. Next on the board is going to be the 5-time Outlaw champion and High Limit Racing champion, Brad Sweet. Brad Sweet has not been to the Chili Bowl in 2 years, but he's made the feature on Saturday. I believe it's 7 or 8 times at this point in his career. He's running for RMS Racing, which is a team that run midgets all season long. They ran with Justin Grant. They had Timez in the car for a long time. And they've got, they won a prelim night last year with Spencer Basin driving the car. So it's a very, very good team. Brad Sweet, we know he's a very good driver. He used to run midgets back in the day, early in his career. He was a USAC guy. And now he's obviously transformed into the incredible wing sprint car racer. But having Brad Sweet on the board just seems like a gimme at this point. I don't think he's going to contend for the win, but I think he's going to be right around maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th in the feature on Tuesday night. Now, moving up to the next one. The next two, honestly, I feel like people are going to be a little bit, not exactly too thrilled with. And they're going to maybe be a little bit confused. But honestly, I'm going to put Clinton Boyles in the top 10. The speed he showed at the shootout, which I know they're completely different race cars, but for a guy that barely races all year long, It was absolutely unbelievable what he was able to do. I mean, he was up front leading the, what was it, the Winged Outlaw main event or the A-Class main event. He was very, very good in the non-wing main event as well. And last year, honestly, the car he drives, the first couple times he drove it, I was like, man, that thing is honestly, it looks like a turd box, right? But last year, it was very, very, very fast. Clinton Boyles is a guy with like good racecraft. I feel like he gets around the track pretty well. And as long as he doesn't get a little bit too excited, I think that he could run top 10 on his prelim night. He has done it before, and I'm going to put him, the number 11B car, going to be on the board in my top 10 for Tuesday night's prelim. And the final one that I've got here, and I know that I'm leaving out, I'm looking at my list over here, I'm leaving out a couple of guys that have made the Saturday feature before because I like this kid so much. I think that he's in a very good car, and he's an underrated driver as well. Landon Brooks out of Yuba City, California. He is driving one of the potent Matt Wood racing cars, teammate to Shane Golobic. He'll be in the 57W. We've seen him run well at the Chili Bowl in very limited midget appearances. And these cars, I think they're very much like the Alex Bowman cars where they almost drive themselves around the racetrack. Dustin Golobic, the crew chief on the car, he does a fantastic job. They've got good engines. They've got good stuff. Matt Wood Racing, for as many midget starts as they run per year, which is like 2 or maybe 0, I don't even know. They are very, very good each and every time. Landon Brooks, up-and-coming driver, made the Kings Royal this year, his first ever attempt at Eldora Speedway. And I'm going out on a limb and saying he runs top 10 at the Tuesday night prelim at the Chili Bowl. So hopefully you guys like this video. Let me know your top 10 down in the comment section below, or tweet to me. I had a guy tweet to me yesterday his top 10. You can do that as well. Also, make sure to check out our friends at Dirt Track Pools if you want to get involved. I'm going to be talking more about pools later on this week when the other pool, Corey Nishaw's, comes out as well. I will be putting entries into both of them, but stay tuned for more content here on the Rodman Rundown. Tomorrow, we will be back for the Wednesday night prelim for next week's Chili Bowl Nationals. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and comment down below. We'll talk to you guys again here soon.